Hi, before we find out what happens next, make sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. It takes a second and really help us grow. Out of the story.
The chandelier crystals above Haven's dining room catch light like diamonds as I watch my life's work become nightmare theater. 200 guests, food critics, investors, Seattle's culinary elite, fill every table while I stand frozen, champagne trembling in my grip. Marcus Hayes, my brother, straightens his tie and taps Crystal, commanding attention. The room falls silent. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us at the grand opening of my restaurant, Haven. My heart stops. His restaurant? I've worked tirelessly to create this culinary experience. Unfortunately, my former employee Victoria has been claiming credit for work that isn't hers. The words hit like blows. Former employee. The restaurant I mortgaged everything to build, reduced to lies spoken over truffle canapes. Trevor Collins, my husband and business partner, raises his glass. To Marcus Hayes, visionary chef and owner of Haven. What's happening? Jade Chen, my best friend and food critic, grips my arm. I try to speak, but betrayal steals my voice. This is my restaurant. Every recipe, every design choice. I built this while Marcus was failing at his third culinary venture. Victoria, I'll have to ask you to leave. This is no longer your workplace. 200 pairs of eyes turn toward me. Cameras flash. The Seattle Times critic scribbles notes. You can't be serious, I manage. Marcus produces a manila folder. I have legal documents, partnership agreements, ownership transfers. This establishment belongs to me. Trevor nods gravely. Legal ownership is clear. Security guards, men I've never seen, appear at my elbows. Marcus hired them while I focused on menu tastings. As they escort me toward the exit, I catch glimpses of my confused staff. The sous chef I trained, the sommelier I personally hired. They know the truth. This isn't over, I tell Marcus. His smile is winter cold. Actually, Victoria, it is. Standing on Pine Street in my chef's whites, I realize the battle for my life's work has just begun. Marcus has underestimated what a chef will do to protect her kitchen. The taste of betrayal is familiar, seasoned with 30 years of Marcus stealing credit. At 7, I won our school bake-off with lavender honey cookies I'd developed after months of experimentation. Marcus told everyone he'd helped, claiming half the blue ribbon. Victoria's the baker, Mom would say. But Marcus has real chef's instincts. At 15, I created what became my signature dish, duck confit with cherry gastrique, for a cooking competition. Marcus told judges it was his interpretation of a French classic. First place went to my recipe served with his story. Siblings should support each other, he said afterward, medal around his neck. The pattern established early. I created, he claimed. I stayed silent. Jade finds me 6 hours later, wine and laptop ready for war. Tell me everything, she commands. I walk her through the timeline, culinary school while Marcus flunked out of CIA. 5 years at Canlis while he bounced between failed California ventures. Haven's development during my apprenticeship. Trevor's investment. 2 years of planning, construction, staff training. Marcus wasn't involved? He visited twice. Criticized my menu both times. Jade's expression turns predatory. Documents can be forged, especially with cooperative business partners. The implication hits like cold water. Trevor's calm acceptance, his complete lack of surprise. How long have they been planning this? Jade opens her laptop. Let's find out. I'm tearing apart every public record associated with Haven. She pulls up business registration. My name as sole owner 18 months ago. No mention of Marcus anywhere. Look at when these partnership documents were supposedly signed versus when you registered the business. The timestamps don't align. Marcus's partnership agreement predates the restaurant's existence by 3 months. He couldn't have been partner before Haven existed, I realize. Exactly. Someone's been busy with Photoshop. Hope flickers. I pull out culinary notebooks, 15 years of recipe development, concept evolution, page after page of my handwriting. This is your evidence, Jade says, photographing each page. Marcus can forge business documents, but he can't fake 15 years of consistent creative development. He's stolen my food, my concept, my reputation, everything. Then we take it back. But smart, legal, and very publicly. Seattle's food community doesn't tolerate fraud. How long will this take? As long as justice requires. But this story doesn't end with you losing your restaurant. It ends with you exposing thieves and building something better. 2 years earlier, Trevor Collins walked into Canlis during my final service as sous chef. He ordered the tasting menu, complimented every course, requested to speak with the chef responsible for duck preparation. "I'm looking to invest in Seattle's next great restaurant," he said over drinks. "Sarah Martinez tells me you're developing something revolutionary. My concept: elevated comfort food with Pacific Northwest influences. Haven, sophisticated dining without pretension. I've been working on this for 3 years," I told Trevor, showing him my plans. "This is exactly what Seattle needs. I'd like to invest $200,000. The partnership began that night. Trevor promised business expertise while I provided culinary vision. He'd handle permits, construction, legal paperwork. "Focus on what you do best. Create incredible food. I'll handle everything else." Marcus materialized 6 months into construction, his latest restaurant having collapsed. "Heard you're opening a place. Mind if I look?" I should have said yes, I minded. Should have remembered every stolen recipe. Instead, I gave him a tour. "Interesting concept," he said, studying menu drafts. "Pretty ambitious for someone who's never run her own kitchen." He suggested changes that would make dishes mainstream, less challenging. I ignored his advice. Trevor proved invaluable during construction, navigating permits, managing contractors, handling bureaucracy. I focused on staff recruitment, menu finalization, recipe testing. The staff reflected my commitment to excellence. Miguel from Le Bernardin, Sarah poached from Voltaggio Brothers. Each brought world-class expertise. "You've built something remarkable," Miguel told me during final training. Opening week approached with typical chaos. Trevor seemed stressed, making frequent calls, reviewing documents I assumed were final permits. "Everything okay?" I asked after finding him with legal papers. "Just final paperwork. Nothing to worry about. Focus on opening." Marcus called 3 days before the event. Thought I'd come up for opening, show family support. I should have been suspicious. Marcus had never shown support for my achievements. But restaurant openings create specific madness. I was grateful for any family member willing to celebrate. Opening morning, I arrived at 5 a.m. to find my center. The space looked perfect. Edison bulbs over reclaimed wood, open kitchen gleaming, wine display showcasing curated bottles. Trevor arrived noon with manila folder. "Final documents. Just need your signature." I should have read everything carefully. Instead, I signed while directing prep, reviewing reservations, calming staff nerves. My attention scattered across urgent priorities. "All set," Trevor announced, filing documents. "Now let's focus on tonight." The opening began perfectly. Critics arrived on schedule. Investors sampled with approval. Seattle's food community filled tables. I accepted congratulations, discussed inspirations, felt validation of years' work. Then Marcus stood with his knife and crystal, and my dream became nightmare. Morning after the disaster, Seattle's food scene buzzes with gossip. I wake to 17 missed calls, 43 texts, and Food and Wine requesting comment on ownership dispute at Haven. Jade arrives with coffee and grim determination. "Have you seen coverage?" Seattle Times food critic posted. Dramatic ownership revelation at Haven's opening. Eater Seattle published breaking news. Ownership dispute erupts at restaurant's grand opening. Photos show me being escorted out. Marcus accepting congratulations. Marcus posted, "Grateful for overwhelming support at Haven's successful opening. While family disputes are unfortunate, I'm committed to providing exceptional dining experiences." Comments praise his professionalism and grace. Marcus positioned himself as victim of disgruntled ex-employee. Miguel calls, confused and angry. What happened? Marcus is giving orders, but the kitchen knows this is your restaurant. Document everything, I tell him. Every dish Marcus claims, every technique he tries. Keep records. He can't even work the salamander. Yesterday he tried teaching duck confit temperature. I've made your duck recipe 8 months. He knows nothing. My lawyer, Patricia Kim, calls with findings. Partnership documents are sophisticated forgeries. Notary stamps are fake. Signatures don't match. Legal language contains errors no real attorney would make. How long until I reclaim the restaurant? These cases take time. Could be weeks or months, Jade types furiously. I'm publishing the real story tomorrow. The theft of Haven? How Marcus Hayes stole his sister's restaurant. Full documentation, timeline, fraud evidence. That afternoon, I drive to Haven despite lawyers' advice. Through windows, I watch Marcus attempt directing my staff. He moves awkwardly through space I designed, clearly unfamiliar with layout. Sarah steps outside during break. This is insane. He doesn't know any recipes. We're coaching him through dishes you created. That evening, Jade publishes exposé. The theft of Haven goes viral within hours, shared across social media by chefs and critics recognizing story's implications. Comments become battleground. Marcus's supporters claim I'm seeking attention. Mine point to years of documented development and achievements. This is just beginning, Jade tells me. Tomorrow I'm calling every food publication. Marcus Hayes is about to become the most notorious name in restaurants. Trevor texts, "This media campaign is unnecessary. We can settle privately." Now, they want to negotiate? Jade laughs. After stealing your restaurant in front of 200 witnesses? She shows me emails from Food Network, Bon Appetit, James Beard Foundation. The story attracted national attention. Everyone wants to interview you. This isn't just about Haven. It's about systemic theft in restaurants. You're becoming the face of fighting culinary fraud. What's next? Tomorrow, we prove Marcus Hayes couldn't cook his way out of paper bag. Then we show Seattle exactly what kind of men steal dreams. The real battle starts tomorrow. 3 days after Jade's exposé, Amanda Rodriguez from Altura calls. "I need to show you something. Can you meet downtown?" At Pioneer Square Coffee Shop, she slides her phone across table showing Marcus's Instagram. Duck confit with cherry gastrique, plated with exact garnish pattern I developed 15 years ago. "That's my signature dish," I breathe. Look at the caption. Marcus's post. "Perfecting my classic duck recipe for Haven's evolving menu. Some dishes take years to master." He's claiming he created it? Amanda scrolls through recent posts. Lamb shoulder with pomegranate molasses, chocolate tart with lavender honey, Haven's amuse-bouche, all my creations. Systematic recipe theft, I realize. He's stealing my entire culinary identity, Miguel calls during prep. Marcus is making us cook from printed recipes, your recipes with his name. He doesn't understand techniques, so we're teaching him dishes you created. Document this. Already am. Sarah's photographing recipe cards. All your handwriting, but he's crossed out your name and written his. Jade meets me with evidence that changes everything. She's investigated Marcus's background, reaching former employers. I spoke with his last San Francisco chef. He was fired for incompetence, couldn't execute basics, constantly needed help, relied on other cooks to cover. She shows printed emails from 3 chefs who'd worked with Marcus. Each tells same story. Mediocre cook who compensated by claiming others' work. This is a pattern. He's done this his entire career. Jade's next revelation hits harder. Marcus has contacted magazines pitching himself as innovative chef with unique vision. He's scheduled for Seattle Magazine Profile next week. He's being featured as rising culinary star based entirely on your work. That night, I make a decision. Public challenge to cook-off. Live, in front of critics. We both prepare same dish, my signature duck confit. Let audience judge who knows how to make it. That's incredibly risky, Jade says. I have nothing left to lose. Next morning, Jade publishes my challenge. Response is immediate and explosive. Food Network picks up story. Bon Appetit requests coverage rights. Marcus responds through Trevor. This publicity stunt is beneath professional standards. Marcus won't dignify accusations. He's scared, Jade observes. He knows he can't cook at your level, Miguel calls with news. Marcus overheard us discussing cook-off. He's furious but terrified. Been asking us to teach advanced techniques, cramming 15 years into days. Is he improving? He can't properly brunoise onion. Yesterday tried making your gastrique, burned it so badly we evacuated smoke. What's his weak point? Everything, especially technique under pressure. When busy, he freezes. No instinctual understanding, no feel for seasoning or doneness. After hanging up, I look at Jade with determination. He's going to accept. How can you be sure? His ego won't let him back down from little sister. When he does, I'm exposing him in front of everyone who matters. The battle for my culinary identity is about to become very public and decisive. Morning that changes everything begins with Patricia Kim calling at 6:47 a.m. Victoria, get to my office immediately. I have something that'll blow this case open. I drive downtown through pre-dawn darkness. Jade meets me in Patricia's lobby. Patricia's conference table is covered with documents, bank statements, emails, surveillance footage stills. She looks sleep-deprived, which means excellent news. What I'm showing you proves Marcus and Trevor committed multiple felonies. She slides manila folder across table. Inside are Marcus's partnership documents alongside forensic analysis. Signatures definitely forged. But we traced notary stamps. They're fake, created using equipment found in Trevor's home office during court-ordered search. My heart pounds as she continues. Trevor kept records of conspiracy. We found emails between him and Marcus dating back 8 months, detailing how they planned stealing Haven. Printed exchanges read like criminal instruction manual. Trevor to Marcus. Once she signs loan documents, I'll modify partnership percentages. She trusts me completely. Marcus to Trevor. Recipes are real value. I've been copying her notebook contents for months. They documented their own crime. I breathe. Gets better. Trevor installed security cameras during construction. He thought he was creating evidence of your incompetence. Instead, he filmed months of you developing recipes, training staff, building restaurants single-handedly. The footage shows me in Haven's kitchen at all hours, perfecting dishes, solving problems. Marcus appears 3 times over 6 months, each time criticizing or suggesting modifications. This is prosecutors' dream. Conspiracy, identity theft, forgery, theft by deception. They're looking at serious prison time. By noon, news breaks across platforms. Seattle restaurant theft exposed. Brothers arrested in elaborate fraud. Headlines vary, but story is consistent. Documented conspiracy and theft. I stand outside Haven at 2 p.m., keys trembling as reporters gather. The locks haven't been changed. Miguel emerges from kitchen, relief bright on his face. I knew this was wrong. Whole staff knew. We've been documenting everything, waiting for you to return. The kitchen feels like coming home. My knives in their roll, recipe notebooks where I'd left them. Everything exactly right, except Marcus's forged recipe cards scattered across prep stations. He tried teaching us your recipes from handwritten copies, Miguel explains. We played along but never stopped making them your way. That evening, Jade publishes complete story with all documentation. The article goes viral, shared by chefs expressing outrage at attempt to steal colleagues' work. Marcus and Trevor, released on bail, issue statement. Our clients maintain innocence and look forward to clearing names. But evidence is overwhelming. Multiple restaurants ban both men. Seattle Restaurant Association condemns fraudulent practices undermining industry integrity. As I prep Haven for reopening, surrounded by loyal staff and real friends, I understand winning feels different than expected. Victory isn't just personal. It's professional validation that truth and talent triumph over fraud. How does it feel to have your restaurant back? Jade asks, camera rolling. I look around Haven's kitchen, my kitchen, watching my team prepare with efficiency that comes from legitimate leadership. It feels like justice, but more. It feels like proof that you can't steal someone's calling, no matter how elaborate your lies. Tomorrow, Haven reopens under rightful owner, serving food created by chef who actually developed every recipe. Marcus and Trevor stole my restaurant, but they couldn't steal my talent, vision, or determination. That made all the difference. 6 months after reclaiming Haven, I stand in the James Beard House kitchen preparing dinner that will cement my reputation not as chef who had restaurant stolen, but who turned theft into movement for culinary authenticity. Tonight's 7-course menu, called Reclaimed, represents highest honor in American cuisine. The invitation came because my story impacted the restaurant industry, but more than that, it proved that truth and talent always rise above fraud and deception. Course 1 ready for pass, Miguel calls from beside me. He flew to New York as my sous chef, the same man who documented Marcus's incompetence during those dark weeks when thieves ran my kitchen. Tonight, he plates my amuse-bouche with precision that speaks to months of rebuilt trust and shared vindication. Jade documents everything, her camera capturing precision and confidence rebuilt over these months. Her documentary about Haven's theft and recovery premiered at Sundance last month, winning Audience Award and sparking national conversations about restaurant fraud. "How does it feel cooking here?" she asks during quiet moment between courses. "Like vindication served at perfect temperature," I reply, plating duck confit that started this battle, the dish Marcus tried to claim as his own creation. The duck skin crackles perfectly, the cherry gastrique glossy and tart, microgreens placed with exact precision I developed 15 years ago. Every element represents hours of practice, years of refinement, decades of passion that no fraudster can replicate. "Behind you, chef!" Sarah calls, carrying dessert components to her station. My former pastry chef flew in from Seattle, where her new company thrives using techniques and recipes she developed legitimately, her name proudly displayed on every creation. Tonight, she's preparing her signature lavender honey tart, the same dessert Marcus tried to steal through forged recipe cards. The dining room beyond the pass buzzes with America's most influential food voices. Danny Meyer sits at table 4, discussing my story with Ruth Reichel. Tom Colicchio nods approvingly as servers describe the evening's concept. These are people who understand the rarity of overcoming systematic fraud in industry built on trust and reputation. Legal resolution came swiftly once Patricia presented our evidence. Marcus pled guilty to conspiracy and fraud, receiving 2 years in federal prison plus restitution for damages to Haven's reputation and my personal brand. Trevor's sentence was harsher, 3 years for orchestrating the scheme and embezzling investment funds that belonged to my dream. But prison sentences felt hollow compared to industry justice. Both men became pariahs in Seattle's tight-knit food community, their names synonymous with culinary fraud. No restaurant will hire them, no investor will back them, no food publication will cover their future endeavors. They've been effectively blacklisted from the profession they tried to corrupt. Order fire, table 6, I call, coordinating the pass as courses flow to dining room. The rhythm feels natural, earned through years of legitimate kitchen leadership rather than stolen authority. The evening's most meaningful moment comes during the 3rd course, when I present my interpretation of stolen heritage, a dish representing recipes appropriated throughout culinary history. The plate tells the story of cultural theft, credit claimed by those who never created, traditions twisted by those who never understood their meaning. This course honors every chef whose work has been stolen, every culture whose traditions have been appropriated, every creative voice silenced by those seeking unearned recognition, I announce to the dining room. The response is immediate and emotional. Several chefs in attendance nod with recognition. They've experienced similar theft, though perhaps not as publicly or dramatically as my case. Others raise their glasses in solidarity, understanding that my fight represented something larger than one stolen restaurant. Haven's reopening 6 months ago drew blocks-long lines of supporters, critics, and industry professionals eager to witness justice restored. Food critics who'd witnessed the theft firsthand wrote glowing reviews, not just of food, but of integrity returned to Seattle's dining scene. We've been booked solid since, waiting list stretching 3 months into the future. More importantly, Haven became symbol of resistance against fraud and exploitation in restaurant industry. The James Beard Foundation created Haven Award recognizing chefs who've overcome systematic theft or abuse. The National Restaurant Association developed new guidelines for protecting intellectual property. Culinary schools began teaching classes on recipe documentation and copyright protection. Other fraud victims came forward, inspired by my public fight. A baker in Portland discovered her signature bread recipes were being sold by former business partner. A barbecue pitmaster in Austin found his dry rub formula copied by national chain. Each case built momentum for industry-wide changes protecting creative work. "They're standing," Miguel observes, watching the dining room through service window. The audience rises in ovation lasting several minutes. These are people who understand what it means to overcome systematic fraud, to fight publicly for creative integrity, to risk everything for principle rather than accept injustice quietly. During the standing ovation, I spot David Chang recording the moment on his phone, Jose Andres wiping tears from his eyes, Martha Stewart nodding with fierce approval. These culinary giants understand that my victory represents hope for every chef who's had work stolen, contributions minimized, dreams hijacked by people they trusted. "Victoria Hayes has shown us that authenticity always wins," declares James Beard Foundation president during his introduction. "Her courage in exposing fraud has made our entire industry stronger and more accountable." The after-party features chefs I've admired my entire career. People who now treat me as equal rather than cautionary tale. Jose Andres pulls me aside to discuss opening Haven location in Washington, D.C. David Chang wants collaboration on cookbook about overcoming adversity in professional kitchens. Martha Stewart's team approaches about television appearances to share my story with broader audience. "You've changed the conversation," Chang tells me over late-night cocktails. Chefs are being more careful about protecting their intellectual property, documenting their creative processes, standing up to exploitation. Your case created legal precedent that protects all of us. 3 other chefs approach throughout evening, sharing stories of recipe theft and credit stealing they'd previously kept quiet. My willingness to fight publicly gave them courage to seek their own justice, to demand recognition for their authentic work. "The ripple effect is incredible," observes Maria Santos, James Beard Award winner who'd had cookbook concepts stolen by former business partner. "Your case made it safe for the rest of us to speak up about fraud we've experienced." Near midnight, I step onto James Beard House Terrace overlooking Washington Square Park. City lights reflect my journey from stolen restaurant to culinary vindication, a path I never wanted to walk, but one that led to unexpected strength and industry influence. Jade joins me, camera finally off after documenting 12 hours of triumph. "How does it feel being on the other side of this nightmare?" "Like justice served at perfect temperature," I repeat. But this time I understand its deeper meaning. The vindication isn't just personal. It's professional validation that authenticity survives theft. Talent outlasts fraud. And sometimes the greatest revenge is simply refusing to be destroyed by those who try to claim your work as theirs. The text arrives as we're leaving. Trevor's message from prison. "Congratulations on your success. I know my apology means nothing now, but I'm genuinely sorry for what I did to you and your dreams." I show Jade the message. She raises an eyebrow questioningly. "Some apologies come too late to matter," I tell her, deleting the message without responding. The flight back to Seattle gives time to process everything that's happened. 18 months ago, I was sous chef with Dream. Tonight, I'm James Beard House alumna with restaurant empire and documentary-changing industry standards nationwide. Haven awaits my return, booked solid for next 4 months, staffed by people who chose loyalty over money, serving food created by chef who actually developed every recipe. Miguel runs kitchen with authority he always deserved. Sarah's pastry company thrives on her own documented creations. The entire team that stood by me during theft now holds ownership stakes and creative control over their specialties. But the most meaningful change is internal. I no longer wait for others' approval or fear their betrayal. Marcus and Trevor taught me that family and business partnership mean nothing without integrity, a lesson worth everything I lost and fought to reclaim. The story ends where it began, in Haven's kitchen, but now I understand true meaning of the name I chose. This isn't just restaurant, it's proof authenticity survives theft, talent outlasts fraud, and sometimes greatest revenge is refusing to be destroyed by those who underestimate your resolve. Seattle's food community welcomed me back not as victim, but as victor who'd shown them all what real strength looks like. Marcus wanted to steal my dreams? He accidentally gave me something better. Knowledge that my worth can't be forged, copied, or claimed by anyone else. The signature on my deed may have been faked, but signature on my dishes is mine alone. And that, no one can ever steal.